Justin Trudeau recruits globalist banker Mark Carney not to work for the government, but to work for the Liberal Party. This is a way that they can skirt the Ethics Commission. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar with this clip. This is Klaus Schwab talking about penetrating our cabinets and penetrating the cabinets all around the world.
What we are very proud of now, the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau.
And he knows that he's got him in his pocket. Now, what happened to the president of Argentina? Looks like they lost that one. And they don't want to lose any more. So what they're doing is they're bringing in their cronies to come in and be the replacement for the cronies that they already have in place. Now, who's the crony that we're talking about today? Well, that would be Mark Carney, international globalist banker, profiteer off of everybody's, of all this inflationary spending that's been happening in the past decade or more. This guy is going to be the new guy who's penetrating the cabinets. And what is his opinions?
Every major economy is accelerating their energy transition, and being low carbon is becoming a key driver of competitiveness. We're just at the start of a revolution driven by AI in every sector, every economy, every company. We can no longer rely on the world's rules-based trading system. We have to become an essential trading partner. We can't win an industrial policy arms race. And in all of that environment, we have to grow, both in the short term and for the long term. We need real policies. We need solutions, not slogans. Action, not indifference.
Wow. Translate, AI's coming, fourth industrial revolution. We need more carbon taxes. That's how we're going to be competitive in a new global market that is not capitalism, but is some other new form of stakeholder. Yeah, okay, we get it. We've all heard this. But anyway, Mark Carney has been appointed to this task force for the Liberal Party, not the Liberal government. He's going to be working for the party. This way he can get away from the Ethics Commission. But here, the task force that they brought together is only him. The task force Mark Carney was hired to lead has no members but him, reports the National Post this morning. Carney, considered a future Liberal leadership contender, has not expanded his team, and there is no deadline for his report. Of course, he is a contender for the Liberal Party leadership because he's behaving already just like a Liberal by doing everything behind closed doors and in a way that won't allow transparency. So we won't know what it is that they're doing, and there's no way of getting any sort of scrutiny. They're hiding behind secrecy. The world is becoming a more dangerous and divided place, says Mark Carney. At the same time, the global economy is being transformed. Every major economy is accelerating their energy transition, away from the fossil fuels and all that stuff. That's what they're trying to do. And being low carbon is becoming a driver of competitiveness, he said. Now, this is his opinions, of course, talking points directly from the World Economic Forum. This is where that's coming from. Carney has so far declined to run for the party as an MP, but has said he wanted to focus on problems the country faces. Of course, why would he run for MP when he'd probably end up losing in the next election? He's going to have to find some Liberal hotbed where they won't lose that election, where he won't lose his bid for MP, because, well, we all know that Trudeau is on his way out the door. I'm interested in doing something, not being something. And this is a decisive time for our economy. These issues have to be tackled head on. And there's nothing more head on than in a shadowy back room with the Liberal Party. In addition to this, his Liberal Party position, Carney is chair of Brookfield Asset Management, an investment firm with more than $1 trillion in assets under management. So, of course, conflict of interest there. The Conservative Party said Carney's appointment creates a myriad of conflict of interests that are being shielded because he's working for the party and not for the government. Even though Carney has now now has a significant power within the Trudeau government, he will not have to declare his massive conflicts of interest and his connections to multinational corporate interests because of Justin Trudeau has shielded him from ethics laws by hiring him as a Liberal Party advisor. The Conservative Party said in a statement, Carney and his corporate friends stand to potentially benefit from to the tune of billions of dollars with no accountability to Canadians. That's amazing. Links as always in the description down below. Go check that out. But this is what's being shared out here. Michael Barrett saying Brookfield, the firm where carbon tax Carney is chair, wants $10 billion in taxpayer money from the Trudeau for an investment slush fund. Now Carney, freshly appointed as Trudeau's advisor, is fundraising for the Liberals. How much money did he promise to raise for the Liberals? We're not sure. But it always comes at a cost, and it's usually the cost to the taxpayers. So, well, you can thank Mark Carney for that. I guess it turns out it's not altruism that he's in it for. It's for his own bank book. That's right. The TheCanadianShield putting this out today, saying Mark Carney has billions of dollars invested and has many conflicts of interest by controlling Canada's money he has to disclose or leave. Pierre Poilievre says.
Pierre Poilievre demands that Mark Carney disclose all of his financial conflicts of interest as the new head of Canada's finances.
That is his name, and he has a radical agenda. My message to carbon tax Carney is come in from out of the shadows. We don't need a phantom finance minister. If you are going to be pulling the strings, you should be on the floor of the House of Commons with your massive financial interests and your foreign interests disclosed to Canadians. Stop pushing to kill Canadian jobs while you ship the jobs abroad. Make your carbon tax agenda known and be held accountable for Canadians so that we can choose in the carbon tax election. And when we do, common sense Conservatives will bring home the country we know and love, where hard work earns a powerful paycheck that buys affordable food, gas, and homes in safe neighborhoods where anyone from anywhere can do anything, where the Canadian promise is restored. Now let's bring it home.
Now that sounds like a hopeful message. Let's hope that's what actually happens. But here is Mark Carney, and this is the future of Mark Carney's government. If, well, we get that, you know, he supports the UN 2030 SDGs and WEF's own nothing and be happy agenda. This is Mark Carney, and this is Canada with a Mark Carney future.
It's an exciting time. It is an exciting time for Canada.
It's estimated up to 300,000 Canadians have experienced homelessness over the past year.
Halifax's approved encampment sites are overflowing.
The average rent in our country hitting an all-time high in the month of May, topping $2,200 a month for the first time ever.
It is an exciting time for Canada.
I feel like I've been priced out, like I'm stuck in my apartment, I can't move out anymore.
And a 2-bedroom place is like $2,800. How am I supposed to afford that?
Food banks across the country are experiencing overwhelming demand.
As the cost of living continues to rise, lines at food banks in Montreal are getting longer.
Yeah, the food is outrageous.
My weekly grocery shop for every week is just skyrocketed.
It seems like everything is more expensive.
It's an exciting time. It is an exciting time for Canada.
It is an exciting time for Canada. It's an exciting time for globalist bankers. Absolutely. There's a lot more money to be made in a dying economy, in a dying country, especially if you're at the helm while you're bringing it down. Now, the Liberal government doesn't have any good plans. They're essentially bringing in more government, and that's it. Instead of relinquishing things and giving people back property and a will to do things of their own, they have new ideas. And the funny part is they're not really new ideas. They're just taking conservative talking points and then making more government out of it. And this is the point that was being said here with Brian Lilley and Pierre Poilievre in this interview.
Let me ask you about your housing plan to use federal land. Justin Trudeau and the Liberals, when the Conservatives ran on this in 2019, they ridiculed the idea. When the Conservatives ran on this idea in 2021, they ridiculed the idea. When you started talking about it at your rallies, they ridiculed the idea. Now they're saying they want to do it. But, and here's the but, they don't want to sell the land to developers to build homes. They want to lease out the land. And they're also using very bizarre parcels. I mean, this is something the Canada Land Company has been doing for years. I used to live onto a whole subdivision that was built behind my townhouse in Ottawa that was built on government land. But Justin Trudeau took your idea and said, yeah, let's do what Pierre's talking about, use government lands, but we'll lease it. You will own nothing and be happy, seems to be his philosophy on this. Why do you prefer your plan, which he says only helps greedy developers and screws over taxpayers? Why do you prefer your plan to his?
Well, because it gives Canadians what they want, which is to own a home. And this is a big, this is a really important insight into Justin Trudeau's radical ideology, where he says he admires Fidel Castro and the basic communist dictatorship, and he admires the WEF, which says you'll own nothing and be happy. He doesn't want you to own your home. He wants you to live in a government housing project. And so I'm saying, no, people want to actually buy the home and own the dirt and build a future, not live as a permanent tenant to the government in Ottawa. Can you imagine that? Like, Justin Trudeau wants you to be a tenant of the federal government. I want you to own your home. That's the big difference. So, Trudeau says private developers are scary. Well, every suburb in Canada was built by a private developer. Who does he think built Mississauga and Brampton and Barrhaven and Southwest Calgary? Well, it was developers. And are they going to charge as much as they can? Yes, they will. And what stops them? Competition. Having as many developers as possible competing with each other for buyers. The more they're building, the more they have to lower their prices to sell their homes. So that's one of the reasons. When I say build the homes, it's actually not really great news for the developers, because they have to compete more when there's more supply. It's good news for the buyer. So I want to rapidly sell off 15% of all federal buildings. That's 6,000 buildings and thousands upon thousands of acres of federal land. And I'll put a covenant on it that land and those buildings have to be turned into housing, or the government will get the land back. That's a basic covenant you can put on the sale of any asset. And we'll do it fast. That's how we're going to build the homes that people can buy.
So there's a real choice there between globalist policies that we've been seeing over the past 10 years or 9 years, and let's handing things back to the market to be doled out in a different sort of way, not in a way that the government controls everything. This, of course, is the platform. After 9 years, Justin Trudeau is not worth the cost. Reckless debt and deficits have driven up inflation and interest rates. A record 1.9 million visits to the food banks in a single month, quadrupling the carbon tax to 61 cents a liter. Polyev government will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, stop the crime. You can sign here if you agree. Anyway, all the links will be in the description down below. But I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. What about this conflict of interest with Mark Carney, a billionaire banker from who hasn't been in Canada for over a decade? He's been over in Europe making billions of dollars off of the plight of the people over there. How would you like to repatriate this banker, bring him over here to do more of what he's been doing in Europe over here in Canada? Let me know in the comments, and as always, we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.